Do you remember the first time a movie truly, like, transported you to another world?
Mhm.
A place so vivid, so immersive, it felt like you could almost reach out and touch it.
Oh, absolutely.
For a lot of people, I think that experience was James Cameron's
It
Avatar.
really was. It wasn't just a film. It felt like a portal, you know?
Yeah, a portal. That's a great word for it.
And that feeling, that immersion, it's exactly what made it such a phenomenon. It really shifted our idea of what movies could do.
And welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, expert analyses, and we try to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the key insights.
Basically giving you a shortcut to getting properly informed.
Exactly. We aim for those aha moments, Some surprising facts, maybe a little humor along the way.
Keep things interesting.
Right. So today, we're diving into the vibrant, incredibly complex world of Avatar, the 2009 epic that didn't just smash box office records.
No, it did way more than that. It sparked this huge global conversation about technology, nature, storytelling itself.
So we've pulled from, well, a lot of places, its detailed Wikipedia entry nationally.
Film databases like IMDb, TMDb, plus various commercial reviews and critical analyses too.
Our goal here is to unpack its journey.
Yeah.
I mean, from this visionary's dream all the way to being this global sensation.
And really dig into why. Why did it connect so strongly, especially when you consider some of the critical debates it also stirred up.
Okay, let's unpack that journey then, because the origin story, it's almost as epic as the film itself.
It really is.
What's fascinating, right, is that James Cameron first conceived Avatar. He even wrote an 80-page treatment for it, way back in 1994.
1994. That's ages ago in film terms.
But he intentionally held off. He waited like over a decade to actually make it. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me he wasn't just waiting for the technology to be, good enough. He needed it to be revolutionary. He had such a clear picture of Pandora in his head, the glowing forest, the floating mountains, everything, that he just wouldn't compromise. So he basically put this huge potential blockbuster on ice until the tools existed to build that world exactly like he saw it.
Wow. That kind of patience, that conviction, it's pretty rare, isn't it?
Extremely rare, especially in Hollywood.
And get this. The actual look of Pandora's bioluminescent forest, the fiber optic trees, the glowing moss.
Yeah.
It apparently came to him in a dream when he was just 19.
No way. So this wasn't just a story idea. It was like this deep personal vision he'd carried for decades.
Exactly. Almost subconscious.
That really speaks to the depth of his creativity, doesn't it? And his ability to just hold on to an idea for so long.
So his aim then was what he called a hybrid film.
Yeah, a hybrid. Blending live action with computer-generated characters and environments, but so seamlessly the audience literally wouldn't know what was real and what wasn't.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
Oh, the challenge wasn't just making pretty CGI. It was making the digital stuff feel as real, as emotionally present as the live actors. That was the key.
So this wasn't just about fancy graphics. It needed some serious breakthroughs.
Absolutely. Groundbreaking advancements, extensive 3D computer graphics, yes, but also revolutionary new motion capture techniques.
Right, the mocap.
And a key innovation was Cameron's own virtual camera system.
Okay, what did that do?
Well, it let him direct the virtual characters in their digital world, but in real time. It was almost like using a super powerful game engine. He could see it happen immediately.
Wow. So he could walk around the digital set.
Pretty much. He even invited guys like Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson to try it out.
What did they think?
Spielberg apparently called it digital makeup.
Digital makeup. I like that.
It captures it, right. It meant Cameron could truly direct a virtual performance, not just, animate one later. He could move the camera, watch the digital characters respond, make creative choices right there on the fly.
Just like with live actors.
Exactly. It kind of blurred the lines between pre-production and the actual shooting, gave him incredible control over the virtual world.
And what about the actors' faces? Getting the emotion across. That feels crucial for the Na'vi.
Totally crucial. So for that, they developed these special skull caps fitted with tiny cameras.
Okay.
These cameras transmitted, and this is the amazing part, 100% of the actors' physical performances, their facial expressions, directly onto their digital Na'vi counterparts.
100%. So every little nuance.
Every micro expression. Before Avatar, CG characters often felt a bit, flat. or you hit the uncanny valley, right?
Yeah, creepy.
Exactly. Because you miss those tiny, subtle muscle movements that convey real human emotion.
Yeah.
But by transmitting all of that, the slight eyebrow raise, the flicker in the eyes to the Na'vi, they achieved this incredible emotional resonance.
So it wasn't just tech for tech's sake.
Not at all. It was about making digital characters feel genuinely human, or I guess Na'vi, making them relatable so audiences could connect with them deeply.
The sheer scale of all this, though, it's hard to wrap your head around. The main visual effects company, We Did Digital, they had 900 people working on it.
900 people.
Yeah.
Just on the effects.
Yeah.
And to manage the colossal amount of data,
Yeah.
Microsoft actually had to create a whole new cloud computing system just for Avatar. It was called Gaia.
Seriously, a custom cloud system.
Yep. They needed a 10,000 square foot server farm with 35,000 processor cores.
That's insane. What did all that computing power actually do for them, though, beyond just making it look good?
It was about scale, yes, but also iteration, speed. Because they had Gaia processing things so fast, Cameron could get that real-time feedback.
Ah, okay. Back to the virtual camera.
Exactly. It meant faster creative cycles. He could try things out, make changes quickly. It allowed for much more complex environments and a level of detail that was just, well, impossible before.
So how much data are we talking?
Get this. Each minute of the final film took up 17.28 gigabytes of storage.
17 gigabytes for 1 minute.
Yeah. And a single frame, just one picture, could take hours to render.
Wow.
So the sheer amount of data and the power needed forced innovations. It basically set a new standard for how visual effects pipelines were built across the whole industry. It was a paradigm shift.
Okay, so this kind of ambition, all this custom tech, it sounds expensive.
Oh, incredibly expensive. The official budget was $237 million.
Which is already huge.
Right. But other estimates push it closer to $280, maybe even $310 million just for production.
And then promotion on top of that.
Another $150 million, roughly.
So you're talking close to $500 million total. That's a massive gamble for a studio like Fox.
Especially given Cameron's history with Titanic. Remember the stories about its budget spiraling?
Oh, yeah. Everyone thought that was going to sink, pardon the pun.
Exactly. So Fox was understandably hesitant. Cameron even put a traffic light outside his co-producer John Landau's office. Red, yellow, green. To show the film's uncertain status.
Seriously. A traffic light.
That's the story. It shows how touch and go it was.
So what changed? How did they convince Fox to take this enormous leap?
Well, that's where John Landau, who Cameron later called the heart of the Avatar family, really stepped up.
Okay.
It wasn't just Cameron's, relentless vision. Landau was smart about the money. He brought in another company, Ingenious Media, to share the investment.
Ah, spread the risk?
Exactly. It reduced Fox's direct financial exposure, made the whole thing less terrifying for them, and that's what finally got the film the green light.
Smart move. It shows that even these huge visionary projects need some clever financial footwork, too.
Definitely. It paved the way for future mega blockbusters, showing how you could manage that kind of unprecedented financial risk.
And what a world they finally got to build. Let's dive into Pandora itself.
Yeah, let's.
It's this lush, habitable moon orbiting a gas giant way out in the Alpha Centauri system.
Closest star system to us, yeah.
And those incredible floating mountains, the Hallelujah Mountains.
Iconic.
They were directly inspired by real places on Earth, right? Those karst limestone formations in China.
Yeah, places like Huangshan. It's fascinating how they took these real geological wonders and just, dialed them up to 11 for an alien world. Made it feel grounded somehow.
It did. And the moon is home to the Na'vi, these striking 10-foot-tall, blue-skinned humanoids.
Living in harmony with nature, very key point.
And their blue skin, that wasn't just random, was it? There was an inspiration.
Yeah, apparently it came from two things. One was Cameron's own mother had a dream about a tall blue woman.
Really?
Yeah. And the other was a sort of conceptual link to blue-skinned Hindu deities. So again, these interesting layers of personal and cultural inspiration mixed in.
They really thought of everything, even the language.
Oh, the Na'vi language.
A dedicated language created by a linguist, Paul Frommer. It had, about 1,000 words?
Around that, yeah. And unique foams, those distinct sounds. It was
Yeah.
specifically designed to sound, nice, apparently. Authentic, but not like any existing human language.
That's incredible dedication to world building, just making it
Yeah.
feel real.
It's that level of detail that sells the fantasy. It grounds it.
Mm.
And if we connect this world building to the story itself, the plot really hinges on humanity's mission there.
Which is?
To mine unobtainium, which, I mean, the name itself tells you something, right?
Yeah, unobtainable.
Exactly. It's this incredibly valuable room temperature superconductor, and mining it directly threatens the Na'vi and their whole way of life. Sets up the core conflict perfectly. Humans wanting resources, impacting an indigenous culture.
So at the heart of this conflict, we follow Jake Sully,
Sam Worthington, yeah.
a former Marine.
Right.
He's paraplegic, and he joins the Avatar program. This lets him control a genetically engineered Na'vi-human hybrid body.
His avatar.
Right. And his journey is really central, isn't it? He starts as this sort of reluctant infiltrator,
Following orders.
but then becomes a defender of Pandora. It's all about his shifting loyalties, finding connection, finding where he belongs.
And his guide in all this, who becomes his mate, is Neytiri, played brilliantly by Zoe Saldana.
A Na'vi princess, a really skilled warrior.
And their relationship, this sort of star-crossed love, it definitely echoes the dynamic in Cameron's Titanic.
Right, Jack and Rose.
Yeah. And some critics also pointed to similarities with the historical story of Pocahontas. It gives that personal story a familiar kind of mythic anchor within this big sci-fi epic.
And every epic needs a great villain. Avatar definitely has one in Colonel Miles Courage.
Oh, yeah. Stephen Lang. He was terrifying.
Totally. As the head of the mining company's security force, RDA security, his just complete disregard for Pandora, for the Na'vi, he really drives the conflict forward, represents that destructive industrial force.
And there are other key figures, too, rounding out the human side. You've got Dr. Grace Augustine, played by Sigourney Weaver.
Weaver, right. She's the head of the Avatar program, more compassionate, understands the Na'vi.
Kind of the conscience, yeah. And then there's Parker Selfridge, Giovanni Ribisi. He's the corporate administrator guy. The suit, exactly. Initially, he's all about the profit, the unobtainium, represents the corporate greed behind it all.
So the story builds through some really powerful moments. One that always sticks with me is Jake's immersion, learning the Na'vi ways, connecting with the forest.
And then his confession. When he finally admits he was a spy, you really feel that internal tearing apart.
Yeah, that was rough.
And then, of course, the devastation of Hometree.
Oh, gosh. When Courage just destroys their sacred home, that was brutal.
Brutal. Cameron himself even noted, kind of chillingly, that the scene had echoes of the September 11 attacks for him. Just that sense of shock and immense loss. It really shifts the whole tone of the film.
Definitely a point of no return. But then there's that amazing turning point for Jake.
The Toruk.
Yes, when he tames Toruk, that massive, feared, dragon-like creature. That's how he regains the Na'vi's trust, right?
Exactly. It's this huge act of bravery based on Na'vi legend, and it unites all the different clans for the final battle. It solidifies him as their leader, the Toruk Makto.
Which leads to that epic final confrontation. The battle for the Tree of Souls.
Incredible sequence. And what's really interesting there is when the Pandoran wildlife suddenly joins the fight against the humans.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Neytiri sees it as their deity, Ewa, answering Jake's prayer. It reinforces that whole theme of nature's power, the interconnectedness of everything on Pandora, visually spectacular, but also thematic.
And the film wraps up with Jake choosing to stay. He permanently transfers his consciousness into his avatar body.
A full immersion into his chosen world, his chosen people.
It's a really satisfying end for his character arc, a powerful statement about identity, belonging.
So stepping back from the story, the film itself was just this commercial juggernaut.
Unbelievable numbers. It took only 19 days to hit $1 billion globally.
19 days. Fastest film to do that at the time. And then it became the first movie ever to gross over $2 billion worldwide. Staggering figure.
Mind-boggling. It eventually beat Cameron's own record holder, Titanic, to become the highest-grossing film of all time.
And it even reclaimed that title. After a re-release in China in 2021, its total went up to $2.923 billion.
Wow. Was that purely down to the novelty of 3D, do you think? Or was Avatar tapping into something else audiences really wanted back in 2009?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
Huh.
Because remember, initial predictions were actually pretty skeptical. A lot of buzz that it might flop, just like the early buzz around Titanic.
Right. History repeating itself.
Analysts were genuinely perplexed by its staying power. It stayed #1 at the U.S. box office for 7 weeks straight.
7 weeks.
So, no, yeah, the higher ticket prices for 3D and IMAX definitely helped the dollar figures. But it wasn't just that. It became this must-see
event.
You had to experience it. Exactly. People weren't just going to see a movie. They felt like they were visiting Pandora.
Yeah.
It showed that for certain films, the sheer spectacle and that communal, immersive 3D experience could maybe even override some narrative criticisms. It definitely influenced how studios thought about big-budget event films after that.
And Cameron himself thought it could inspire that same sharing reaction as Titanic, right? People telling their friends, you have to see this.
Yeah, that word of mouth was massive.
Critically, though, it was a bit more divided, wasn't it?
It was. On one hand, widespread praise for the visuals, the tech, the 3D. Roger Ebert called it extraordinary, a technical breakthrough. He also noted its flat-out green and anti-war message.
Right.
But on the other hand, it got hit pretty hard for the storytelling. Words like derivative, predictable, flat dialogue came up a lot. The consensus on Rotten Tomatoes kind of sums it up. More impressive on a technical level than as a piece of storytelling.
It's interesting that split. For a film that broke all those records, does the simplicity of the story maybe help it reach such a wide audience? Less people just focus on the visuals. Or would a stronger narrative have made it even better?
That's the big debate, isn't it? I mean, on one side, a clear, universal good versus evil, nature versus industry story is really accessible, lets the spectacle shine. But the counter-argument is that maybe the lack of narrative complexity, the familiar tropes, limits its long-term resonance or rewatchability compared to films with, say, deeper character arcs or more original plots. It's a fascinating tension.
Yeah, it is.
And the film's themes also sparked a lot of discussion. The whole white savior criticism came up quite a bit.
Right. Jake Sully coming in to lead the Na'vi.
Exactly. Also, its anti-imperialist message, which Cameron himself acknowledged was intentional, and even discussions about its portrayal of pantheism, the idea of Ewa, this life force connecting everything.
And people definitely noticed similarities to other stories.
Oh, yeah. Comparisons were made to older sci-fi like Poul Anderson's Call Me Joe, Ursula Le Guin's The Word for World is Forest, and movies like Dances with Wolves, Ferngully, even Disney's Pocahontas.
So the story beats felt familiar to some.
They did, which again fueled that debate. Groundbreaking visuals, familiar story.
It makes you wonder about its lasting cultural impact. I remember around 2014, some journalists were asking, where is the Avatar fandom? You know, compared to Star Wars or Marvel, there wasn't the same level of, like, merchandising or cosplay crazes initially.
That's a fair point, especially in those immediate years after. It didn't seem to generate that same kind of obsessive fan culture.
But has that perception changed now, especially with the sequel coming out?
I think it has, somewhat. By 2022, when The Way of Water was coming out, and after the original had been re-released, critics like Scott Mendelson were kind of reassessing. They talked about a skewed, renewed nostalgia.
Okay, what does that mean?
Like maybe people started appreciating Avatar for its uniqueness, its singular existence, for the fact that it prioritized this incredible top-tier filmmaking craft over, say, easily quotable dialogue or complex lore.
So the argument shifted. Its legacy isn't about action figures, it's about the cinematic experience it created.
Kind of, yeah. Maybe its impact was less about traditional fandom and more about pushing the boundaries of what cinema could look and feel like.
And regardless of those debates, you can't deny its impact on the technology of filmmaking.
Absolutely undeniable.
Yeah.
And the popularization of 3D cinema, for better or worse, owes a huge debt to Avatar. It really forced that technology into the mainstream.
And it clearly wasn't a one-off fluke. The success led to this massive franchise commitment. Avatar. The Way of Water came out in 2022.
Did incredibly well.
And now we've got Avatar. Fire and Ash supposedly coming in 2025, and 2 more planned after that for 2029 and 2031.
So Cameron's definitely not done with Pandora.
Not by a long shot.
Yeah.
And the world has expanded beyond film too, right?
Yeah, in some really interesting ways that maybe speak to that experiential legacy. There was a Cirque du Soleil stage show to wreck the first flight.
Oh, cool.
And maybe the biggest example is Pandora, the World of Avatar at Disney's Animal Kingdom, a whole theme park land.
Right, where you can ride a banshee.
Exactly. So the focus is on letting people experience Pandora directly, which is maybe a different kind of cultural footprint than just selling T-shirts.
That makes sense. And of course, we should mention the awards. It didn't win Best Picture, but it picked up significant recognition.
Definitely. 3 Academy Awards. Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, which feels right, given everything we've discussed.
And 2 Golden Globes, including Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director for Cameron. Plus, tons of other awards. A clear testament to its achievements.
So, wrapping this all up, what does it mean for you, listening? Avatar was, well, it was way more than just a movie, wasn't it? It
Yeah.
was this huge technological gamble that absolutely paid off. It immersed millions of people in this incredibly detailed alien world.
Hmm.
And it sparked all these conversations about technology, about our relationship with nature, about power, colonialism, the future of storytelling itself.
So as you think about Avatar, the tech achievement, the spectacle, the debates, here's something to chew on.
Mm
In the way cinematic storytelling keeps evolving,
-hmm.
does that awe-inspiring visual experience, does it now carry more weight than having a completely novel, never-before-seen narrative?
Yeah, it's a good question. How much can truly groundbreaking visuals elevate a story that might feel, well, familiar? Can they make it unforgettable anyway?
We'd love to hear what you think about Avatar. What really stood out to you the most?
Was it the breathtaking visuals, the whole Na'vi culture, or maybe it was the film's themes about environmentalism or corporate greed that resonated with you? Let us know.